Basically, hypermasculinity in a woman is a result of trauma. Hypermasculinity in a woman is a result of trauma. Like, you're not just born like that. Like, certain things in your childhood happened to you that maybe looking back, if you think about it, that's like the reason why you feel like you have to act the way you act. You have to figure out the root cause as to why you are masculine by default. What is the trauma that caused you to feel like you have to be so tough all the time? There is a deep-rooted issue that you have that it's... Hello, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Moments with Mel. If you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that. Hit the bell so you're always up to date about my new video posts. And please visit itsmomentswithmel.com. I do have coaching services. If you need some advice on general girl talk or guy talk about family, friendships, relationships, career, whatever it is, I am here to help you. I wanted to do this video is because for me as a woman, I can honestly say there was a period of time where I was in my masculine energy for so long and I did not know how to break out of it. I didn't know how to break away from it. I didn't know how to stop it. Like, I knew I was in my masculine energy because I would ask people certain questions about me. Masculine for a very, very, very long time. And I had to do so much work to teach myself, like, okay, how can I break out of this toughness? Like, how do I stop being this way? But what I realized is before we can say, okay, I need to stop being this way, this is how I'm going to stop being this way, you have to figure out the root cause as to why you are masculine by default. What is the trauma that caused you to feel like you have to be so tough all the time? There is a deep-rooted issue that you have that it's soft side to be suppressed. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, that's a good thing. It's like, okay, hey, like, I want to say something. I want to get my point across. Please don't interrupt me. That's not a bad thing. It's just, how do I express that in a more softer, feminine, delicate way? So what I'm trying to tell you guys is when that masculine energy from past trauma or your childhood tries to come to the surface, tell yourself, can I talk in a softer way? Can I express that in a more gentle way? Like, the message is still the same. It's just the tone that you're using. So if your man does something that you don't like and it's something that triggers you, it's something that reminds you of a negative situation in your past, instead of being like, like, instead of doing all of that, being like, okay, let me try to express myself and be like, okay, I'm gonna try to express myself in a softer way where it's the same message, but I'm expressing it softer, in a softer way. That's what I had to learn. I started to realize that it's like, literally, ladies, and I'm gonna honestly tell you guys this, if you want a masculine, strong, caring, provider, rescue, hero man, you are not gonna get that being masculine. You can forget it. Those type of men are not attracted to that kind of energy. They're not attracted to the I can do it all by myself energy. They're not attracted to that I got it energy. They're not attracted to that I can hold my own energy. They are not attracted to that toughness. You know, that's not what they're attracted to. And I'm not saying that you have to be like a doormat. I'm not saying that you have to be a carpet or that you can't have your own stuff or your own money or your own, like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is the energy that you're giving out is going to attract a certain type of person. The energy that you're giving out is going to attract certain type of people and certain type of situations. So if you're in your masculine, or you were like me where you're in your masculine for a very long time, try to learn to accept. Try to learn to receive, to be a receiver. Even if it's something simple, like you're at the grocery store and a guy tells you, hey, do you want me to help you put your groceries away? Don't say, oh no, I got it. Be like, oh my God, thank you so much. You're so kind. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Let's say you're trying to like put a box in your car. Something's heavy. Oh, let me help you. That looks heavy. Let me help you. Say, oh my God, yes, thank you. Anytime someone is offering assistance to you, yes, take the assistance. Masculine energy is always trying to tell you, you don't need the assistance. Like, you could do it by yourself. Oh no, I'm good, thank you. No, thank you so much for trying to help me. Thank you for putting my groceries in my car for me. You're so sweet, you're so kind. And even if they try to like talk to you and you know that's not what you're looking for, just take the number. You don't have to call them. But like, learn to just be softer in situations where you feel like you always have to be strong. Learn to control your masculine energy, ladies. Learn to control your anger. Sometimes, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but sometimes you really have to just learn to count to 10. And if you want to remain in your feminine and not break out into that masculine again, you have to be in environments that nurture your feminine energy and is not trying to bring that masculine energy out. Like, a really big example of that is your group of friends. You don't want to be in a group of friends where you're on the defense all the time, where you always feel like we're all going to go out and have dinner, someone's going to say something, I'm going to get triggered. You don't want to be in environments that's pushing that aggressive masculine side out of you. It's the same thing with dating. You don't want to be with a guy who's like forcing you to plan the date, to plan the dinner, I made a decision a long time ago that I would never be in any type of relationship or friendship where I have to bring my masculine energy out, because that's an energy that I already felt like I had too much of, that I had to do work to fix and clean up. I'm not gonna be in environments with people who want to bring that masculine energy out of me. If I'm dating someone new, the minute you're trying to get me to plan the date, or you're throwing the planning on me, or you're throwing the itinerary on me, I just stop responding, because now you want me to take charge. And I don't want to take charge when I'm in the presence of a man. I don't want to have to do that. So that's how I know that that's not the right guy for me. I know that the right guy for me is going to be like, here's the place, here's the venue, get there at 8:30. I'm so excited to see you. I'll be waiting for you at the bar. I don't want someone who's like, oh, well, what do you want to do? Well, where do you think? Well, can you Google? Like, for me, that just doesn't work, because I'm only in my masculine energy, honestly, when I'm doing YouTube stuff, when I'm planning, when I'm content planning, when I'm talking to you guys, when I'm on go mode, when it's about work, when it's about money, and if someone steps out of line with me. That's the only time that I allow my masculine energy to come to the surface. And one of the biggest exercises that I did to remove that energy from being the most dominant energy in my personality or in myself was by learning to articulate myself more in a manner that flows like an ocean and less of like an abrupt hammerhead, because that's literally how my personality used to be. So I had to learn how to flow gently, peacefully, like a river, with how I talk, how I articulate, how I talk about how I feel, and I kind of just allow it to just flow. I'm not abrupt. Like, I used to be like abrupt. Like, I used to be like, for example, I'll be like, okay, you're not doing a good job, and if you don't fix it, you have to go. That's abrupt. That's masculine. That's not really being considerate of the other person's feelings. It's kind of just like hammerhead. That's the masculine energy I used to be in. Now that I try to stay dominantly in my feminine, instead of saying, you're not a good job, you have to go, I'll be like, you know what? Like, you know, I've been like watching how you've been working, and I'm just not sure. I would really like for you to explain to me what's going on, how you're feeling, and what's making you feel like you can't deliver what's necessary in order to get this job done, because if you can't, then I'm just not entirely certain that this would be the place for you. Do you see the difference? So the approach is very different. The tone is different. The point of view of how I'm addressing the person is different. When you're trying to operate in your feminine, you need to be more considerate. You need to be more soft. You need to think about the other person's feelings and how what you're saying may affect how that person feels. That's a big part. And if you ever feel like you're in a situation where you're going to be placed in your masculine energy, then you may have to walk away. Like, for example, I don't remember if it was like a service place that I went to, a nail place or a facial place. I don't remember, but the girl that was doing my facial, like, she was really like mean, and it was a lash place. She was really mean. She was really nasty and aggressive. Again, her masculine energy was on like level 50, and her being in her masculine was bringing me back to that aggressive masculine that I worked so hard to step out of. So as she was doing, from the minute I walked in, she was really mean. She was like, sit down, you can sit over there. And I walk in and I'm like, okay. So I sit down and she starts doing my lashes, and like she's saying really degradative, like really rude things. Like, I don't know who you went to before. They did a terrible job. Your lashes look crazy. You're this, you're that. Like, she was just being extremely condescending. What did I do? She didn't even finish my lashes, you guys. I literally got off the chair. I paid her half because she finished half. And I told her, here. She's like, you're really gonna leave with half a lash? I'm like, yeah, your energy is just poking negative parts of my personality that I put to sleep, and I rather not awaken. So here's your payment. I have a friend who also does lashes. I'm going to see if she can work with what you've done, but I can't be here because I just, you know, the way that you're talking to me, it's a little bit wild, and I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back there. And I kind of just picked up my purse and I left. And sometimes, so like, part of also entering your feminine and making sure that you're in that place for as long as possible is walking away from things that's going to trigger that aggressive, masculine, manly side of you. And yes, people are going to say, oh, you're a punk, or you're, what do you call that? You're softy or whatever, or you're scary or whatever. Like, people can say what they want. Like, you got to pick your battles in life. You really have to pick your battles. Like, there are certain battles that's really not worth it. That's really not worth your time, energy. A lot of you women are like sending men 5 paragraphs. Yeah, that's masculine. Like, you don't, if you have to send a guy 5 paragraphs, the minute you get to the period before you hit send, just delete the whole thing and send back okay. Just O and K. Don't get into your masculine where you have to start trying to prove something. Like, that's what. And the thing is, everything that I'm telling you guys will roll over into every aspect and every area of your life. Like, I remember I was listening to Shara 7 a couple weeks ago, and she's right. She's like, even when you're going out and you're dating, like, are you interviewing or enchanting? You know, because when you're going out and you're like interviewing, you're like, do you have kids? Are you married? Do you want to get married? Have you ever cheated? Do you do drugs? And you're like being so like hardcore, and you're not like easing into these questions or like indirectly asking them, it can come off as a little bit strong, and it can come off as a little bit like just masculine towards the guy. So like, learn how to enchant, sit there, be beautiful, look cute, and let them talk and enjoy yourself. But don't like go in there with that aggressive aura, and you'll scare them away. So yeah, just like learn to be more calm and learn about how to articulate what you're saying and how to articulate your message without going into your like masculine, you know, because, you know, masculinity, hyper-masculinity in a woman is a result of trauma. hyper-masculinity in a woman is a result of trauma. Like, you're not just born like that. Like, certain things in your childhood happen to you that maybe looking back, if you think about it, that's like the reason why you feel like you have to act the way you act or say the way you say things the way you say. Maybe a lot of you ladies on here, you grew up with brothers where you used to literally fight your brothers. And now as an adult, since you used to fight with them or play fight with them as a kid, now as an adult, you still have that toughness. You know what I mean? So you have to assess. So you have to assess your past and find out okay, why do I feel the need to do this? Like, what happened to me that's making me feel like I need to be this way? Or my tone. Like, ever since I was a little girl, my parents always told me, you need to work on your tone. Like, your tone is a little bit like a sharp knife cutter. And you need to think about and rethink how you're articulating yourself. Because even if you don't mean to articulate yourself aggressively, that's just how it comes off. And I thought, well, why does my tone? And I thought back to that story I told you guys about when I was a kid and everybody was much louder than me and I couldn't get a word in. So now as an adult, I always feel like I'm going to be the loudest one because I will get my word in this time. So that was like a trauma. That was an effect of trauma, of not feeling heard. So once I realized that, I'm like, there's nothing like. That's when I realized, okay, I can speak softer. That's not a problem. And a lot of us, we don't want to speak softer because we feel like, oh my God, if I'm softer, if I live this soft life, if I'm more gentler, people are going to think they can bully me. People are going to think they can take advantage of me. People are going to think that they can harm me. People are going to think that they can get one up on me. And that used to be one of my biggest fears when it came to going on the feminine journey. I'm like, I don't want people to think that I'm this carpet because I had so many people think that I'm in the past, think that I was in the past. And then I realized, no, literally I can still be soft. I can still talk gentler and be gentler. And then if someone gets out of line, I can either walk away or allow that masculinity to resurface to protect myself. So it's all about balance. So I hope this video helped you guys, okay? Keep that balance. And masculinity is not a bad thing. You just need to learn when to use it and when to not use it and how to suppress it. That's not the default. Feminine should be